Hi, and welcome to yoga class of today. So today you are going to review a little bit about external rotation in your hips and in your shoulder joints. Then we're going to try the forearm stand. So in forearm stand, you stand with your forearms on the floor, parallel to each other. And the problem is that when we try to hold our body weight on our shoulders tend to internally rotate like this. So it's overuse the muscles on the top and on the front. And our job is to make the opposite action, external rotation, so that we start using the back side and the underneath side of your arms too. So in order to hold this shape here, it's very easy, but when you're standing with your forearms, your elbow will start opening out. So that's why we need to train it to externally rotate. And when you straighten your arms, it's very easy to see that external rotation is turning your biceps and your elbow crease up. But when you are bending your elbows, it's very hard to see, because when your elbow is pointing out, it's actually internal rotation of your shoulders. And external rotation of your shoulders means your elbows turning in, hugging in. Right, so we're going to that point. And you will remember it, so don't worry. Let's start on the floor. Let's prepare a wall with you, and one block and a strap, and a thin but non-slippery pillow or blanket so that we can support underneath our arms later. If you don't have one, it's fine if you use your yoga mat only. Now let's sit on the floor, sitting cross-legged. Bring your hands on the top of your thighs and close your eyes. We will spend some minutes focusing on your breath here. And whenever you exhale, externally rotate your shoulders already in this position by bringing your shoulders down and back and hugging your elbows toward the side of your body. So every time you inhale, feel your spine grow up longer. And exhale, bring your shoulders down, back and in. It's like you're showing your biceps out. And feel your long neck. Maintain the long and calm breath here. Keep your face calm too. And scan through your body. Feel how you are sitting very balanced on your sitting bones. And your shoulders right above your hips. And your head right on the top of your shoulders and your spine. Pay a lot of attention to your posture. Maintain the long and deep breath without changing the way you sit. Always keep your back upright and strong. then slowly open your eyes. Let's take a deep inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, bring your hands down next to your body. Let's move your shoulder up to touch your ears. And then bring your shoulders down, very far away from your ears. Long neck here. Bring your shoulders up to your ears again. So now you have very short neck, almost no neck. And bring your shoulders down. So this movement is from your shoulder blade. The flat bones behind you. Bring your shoulder blades up and bring your shoulder blades down. So you want to keep your shoulder blades down so that you have long neck and there's no stress on your neck. Right, let's inhale, bring your arms up and bring your shoulder blades down like this. Bend your elbows and turn your palms up. So you'll be like here in the forearm stand. Try to bring your elbows next to your ear without doing a back bend. So curl your belly in. Inhale. And exhale, raise your hands up. Inhale one more time, bring your shoulders down, hug your elbows in, and try to maintain the neutral spine as you raise your elbows up. And then inhale. Exhale for one more time. Alright, and exhale, release your hands. Let's bring your hands down to the floor and your knees down into table pose. And warm up your spine with cat and cow. Inhale, cow pose, and exhale, cat pose. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time, inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat pose. And then come back to neutral spine, so table pose. Move your knees back a little bit. Check in with your hands. Make sure that your index and your thumb are pressing down to the floor. So the inside of your wrist will be pressing down to the floor. What happens in many people in arm balancing and putting weight on their arm is that they tend to lift the inside part up like this, and they will put too much weight on the outside of their wrist rather than the inside. So this is not so good position. And then let's externally rotate. So bring your biceps and your elbow crease out. And now it's the first challenge. Bend your elbows, bend both of them. And see if you can land them, both of them, on the floor at the same time. So now your forearm is on the floor. And then again, press your hands down to the floor. Try not to point your elbows out. Just lift your elbow crease up and your biceps up and show them to the front. Let's do that 2 more times. So very slowly press through the floor and bring your forearms down to the floor. And then bring both of them up at the same time without pointing them out. And very slowly. And now one more time, lift it up. So if you don't pay attention, you look like this. But try not to do that. Lift your elbows up and always hugging them to each other. And there you are. Okay, so we're going to try this again. If you feel like your arms always point out and you cannot control it, let's find the strap with the loop again and make this loop as a little bit smaller than your shoulders, and wear it on your upper arm on top of your elbows. Alright, so let's turn your biceps out and slowly bring your arms down to the floor. And then from here, bring your arms up. And try for 2 more times. Always pressing all your fingers to the floor, especially your index finger and your thumb. And one last time. Okay, very good. Then you can remove the strap. Downward facing dog as you exhale. And before you do that, externally rotate. So now maybe your down dog may not be, you cannot push your shoulder too low. But it doesn't matter. Stay for a while in down dog and pay attention to your arms. Keep the external rotation as much as you can in down dog. And notice when you lose it. To me now, I feel like my left side is much weaker than my right side in external rotation. Inhale, plank pose. And make sure your arms are in external rotation already, showing biceps and elbow crease to the front. And exhale, bring your knees down. And through a half chaturanga, let's lay down to the floor. Cobra pose when you inhale. And exhale, let's come back to the floor. Now let's bring your forearms down to the floor. Sphinx pose. And use a block to put between your index and finger and your thumb. Like this. And then put the block on the floor, and your index finger and your thumb will be framing the corner of the blocks and pressing down to the floor at the same time. So don't lift them up, press them down to the floor. Make sure all your fingers are pressing down to the floor and your forearms are parallel to each other. And then hold your belly in, and then hug your belly up, tuck your toes and go up into a low plank. Try to keep your hips as low as your shoulders, or a bit lower, so it feels like one straight line from your head to your heels, and always hugging your elbows in. So here you will feel that your elbows will want to point out. Keep breathing and hugging your elbows in. And see if you can move your shoulder blade down so that your neck will be long and your shoulders will be away from your ears. Take one more breath, inhale and exhale. And then let's slowly come back to the floor. Remove the blocks. Cobra pose as you inhale, and exhale, downward facing dog. So again, try to practice external rotation in all poses, even in down dog. If sometime you forget, it's fine, I can remind you. But anytime you have a chance, practice it so that you build up the strength behind your arms. Walk your heels on and off the floor a little bit. Bring your hips up higher. And then step your feet toward your hands. So make sure your hands, especially index, finger and thumbs, are still on the floor. And once you stand with your feet, let's inhale halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. You can hang your arms, you can hold your elbows. And swing gently from side to side. Then slowly stand up. As you inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, hands in front of your heart. You can bring your arms along your body and close your eyes. Slow down with your breath or shake your arms a little bit. And take a small break in the mountain pose. Then let's do an usual sun salutation. So we start in chair pose. Stand at the front of your mat with your feet parallel to each other. Inhale, sit down in chair pose. Keep your toes and your feet the same, but open your knees out to do external rotation on your hips. Inhale, move your hip back and more and sink your hip lower. And then one more breath. When you exhale, bring your belly down to your thighs and forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. Step your right foot back, a long step. High lunge pose. So bend your front knee, put your front knee right on the top of your front ankle and stand up. So in here, imagine your legs are like a pair of scissors. Your front leg wants to go back, but your back leg wants to go forward. And you're pulling the left hip back and opening your left knee out. External rotation on your front leg. Inhale here and exhale. Keep your front leg exactly the same. Turn your hip out to the side. Warrior 2. Bring your arms out. Now you're still having external rotation on your front leg and feel your left buttock working. See if you can do external rotation on your back leg too. Turning your thigh bone out. Inhale here and exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior 2. And exhale, hands down to the floor. Step your front foot back into plank pose and do external rotation the moment you get into plank. Thumbs and index finger pressing down to the floor and turning your biceps out. Now it's a challenge here. See if you can, from plank, bring both of your elbows to the floor at the same time into low plank. If you feel it's too much for you, you can bring your knees down, bring your elbows down and go to low plank. So here we are, without the blocks, Make sure your hands are flat on the floor. There's no gap between your hands and the floor, and you're hugging your elbows toward each other. Inhale in plank and exhale Sphinx pose. So bring your belly down to the floor. Elbows right underneath your shoulders. So inhale, raise your chest up, and exhale, bring your shoulders down and back. Imagine you want to pull and drag your forearms back, but it actually doesn't happen. And through this action, your chest is opening through your shoulders. One more time, inhale and exhale. Now let's go back to low plank. And then the challenge is to lift your elbows up without pointing your elbows out into high plank. So if you think it's too much of a challenge, you can start with your knees on the floor. But I'm going to take it, so I will grab my hands to the floor very much. And then go up into plank. From plank, down dog. See if you can maintain still the external rotation. Move your shoulder blades away from your ears, so you have long neck here in down dog. Inhale, raise your right leg up in down dog. Try to raise your leg as high as you can, but your leg on the floor externally rotating. That means your left knee is pointing out and out. Inhale here and exhale, step your foot toward your hands. High lunge on the other side. So imagine the pair of scissors again. Squeeze your front leg back and try to kick your back leg forward without actually doing so. Bend your front knee and open your front knee a bit out while you're pulling your right buttock back. So externally rotate your right hip. And then let's keep your front leg the same, opening your knee out. Step your back foot down to the floor, warrior two. Inhale in warrior two. Externally rotate your front hip. And see if you can do the same on your back leg, so you're turning your thigh bone out. And now you are activating your glute muscles. When you exhale, reverse warrior. And then inhale warrior two again. And exhale, hands down to the floor. Step your back foot forward and in forward bend. Inhale halfway up. Exhale forward bend. Chair pose as you stand up. Inhale. Opening your knees out. Activating your glute, and slowly stand up as you inhale. Exhale, bring your arms to the side of your body. Take a small break in Tadasana before we change side. So let's try the other side. So kind of the same sequence. Open your eyes. Pointing your knees out already without pointing your feet out. Chair pose as you inhale. And exhale, belly to your thighs, forward bend. Inhale halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. Step your left foot back, long step. High lunge. And externally rotate your front hip at this, as soon as you go to high lunge. Inhale and high lunge. Exhale, keep your front leg the same. Still opening your right knee out to the right side. Warrior two. Try to open your back hip too. Try to externally rotate your back hip too. Imagine you want to point your knee out. And then reverse warrior. So inhale. And then inhale and exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Step your front foot back, plank pose. Now the challenge here is go to plank, from plank to low plank. Press your hands down to the floor very much, and the key action here is external rotation. And then you can bend your elbows and bring them down to the floor. You can step your feet back into low plank. Check your hands, make sure you are grabbing the floor with your hands. They are sticking down to the floor and your elbows are hugging in and only as wide as and not wider than your shoulders. And then slowly bring your belly down to the floor, Sphinx pose. You can change your arm position. Inhale, press your shoulders back. And exhale. Stay here for several more breaths. Then we go into low plank again. So from this low plank, we will go to dolphin pose. It's like a down dog, but with your forearms on the floor. So let's bring your knees back down to the floor, and I highly suggest you use a block between your elbows. So imagine you want to squeeze your elbows toward the block. And squeeze all the time. And slowly come up into dolphin pose. So you can bend your knees and raise your heels up high, but trying to push your shoulders down and back. It's a very hard pose here already. Push your shoulders down and back and try to bring your hips up higher and higher. Okay, and now the hard thing here is see if you can go from here to downward facing dog. If you think it's too much, you can bring your knees down, press through your hands, go up to plank, and then down dog. Walk your heels on and off the floor and stay in down dog for a while. Try to bring your shoulder blades away from your ears so that you have long neck here. And then down dog split. Let's bring your left leg up very high. As high as you can, but look at your right knee on the floor. Turn your right knee out and out for external rotation. Then step your left foot forward to your left hand, high lunge pose. Inhale, bring your arms up. Externally rotate your left hip, opening your left thigh bone out. Inhale here and exhale, warrior two. So the same here, try to externally rotate both of your thigh bone out. Inhale. And exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, hands down to the floor. Step your back foot forward into forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. And then slowly stand up in chair pose. Chair pose as you inhale. And slowly stand up. Bring your hands in front of your heart or arms along your body and take a break. So now we're going to do the sun salutation again, but we are going to make it a bit fun with the block, and it will be more challenging. I guess that most of you will have the same shoulder width as me. This block is kind of enough to squeeze between your elbows. Right, so let's try it. Here it is. So we're going to try to hold the block like this. And if sometimes you feel like it's too much, it may be quite tiring after a while, you can hold the block on your hands and make your elbows right underneath your hands. Like this. It's a way to remind us not to open your arms out. We have to practice external rotation. Okay, so I'm going to start with my elbow squeezing into the block. And when you squeeze, try to merely squeeze. Don't do other things like this. Bring your shoulders down and only use your arm strength to squeeze into the block. So turn your palms down so that it will look like the forearm stand already. And stand in front of your mat. We're going to go through each pose quite quickly so that you will not have to hold this block for too long. Bring your shoulders down. Inhale, chair pose. Ooh, it's already hard. Try to bring higher and higher in chair. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. This time step your feet back a little bit so that you can put your hands on the floor and ready to go to plank pose. Step your feet back, plank. Now see if you can go to low plank. You do that by bring your elbows down to the floor, step your feet back. Or you can just bring your knees down to the floor and go to low plank. Inhale, low plank, and exhale, Sphinx pose. Inhale and Sphinx pose. And exhale, go through low plank again and then dolphin pose. So keep squeezing into the block. Low plank and dolphin pose. If you feel like you are not squeezing into the block anymore, I lose it sometime too. So when you lose it, squeeze your elbows back in. Push your shoulders back and your hips up higher in dolphin. Inhale and exhale, bring your knees down. Now, squeeze into the block, pick it up and go to downward facing dog. So now I cannot look the triangle shape like in down dog, and try not to lose a block. I think I'm losing it now. Let's inhale, bring your right leg up, and exhale, step your right foot forward. Yeah. High lunge pose. Try to bring the blocks up. Oh, it's so hard to bring it over your head. So stay here, don't cross your shoulders toward your ears. Just stay where you are. Inhale here and exhale. Whew, you can release the block. And hold it with your right hand. Warrior 2. Notice your hips, externally rotate at your hips. And now bring your right shoulders down and then make circle with your right hand. Big circle and then small circle. And then let's circle it the other way, big and then small. Now let's hold the block tight. Inhale and exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior 2, and exhale and exhale half moon pose. So hold the block, put it on the floor, and bring your back leg up into half moon. In half moon, important thing, external rotation in your standing leg. So you can bend the standing knee slightly and open that knee out. Make sure your toes are pointing straight to the front of your mat. From here, turn your hips down and still keep your standing knee pointing out and out. Warrior 3. Right, in Warrior 3, see if you can hold the blocks between your elbows again. Oh, it's so hot. And bring the blocks over your head. Whoa. Okay, and then step your foot back down to the floor, chair pose. Inhale. And exhale, slowly stand up. That was tiring, right? Take a small break. And always tell your body to bring your shoulders away from your ears. You always want to have long neck. Whew. Let's try the other side. So squeeze a block to the inside of your arm, like this. You're showing your elbow crease and your biceps. And then you turn your hands down. So this will be exactly what we do in the forearm stand. Bend your elbows a little bit. This will be the forearm stand already. All right. So let's do it on the other side too. Inhale, chair pose. Oh, this is so hard, right? Don't cross your shoulders up to your ears. Bring your shoulders down away from your ears. Chair, a very weird chairs. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Now let's step back a little bit so that you can bring your hands down to the floor and still squeezing into the blocks. Make sure your hands are sticking down to the floor and step your feet back into plank pose. So inhale in plank and exhale, step your feet back and back, bend your elbows and bring the blocks and your elbows to the floor at the same time, low plank. Keep squeezing into the blocks and check in with your hands. Don't be like this. Don't lift your hands off the floor. And then exhale, hips down to the floor. Raise your chest up, Sphinx pose. Keep squeezing your arms into the block. Ooh, bring your shoulders down, long, far away of your ears. So long neck here. And then let's slowly go out and into dolphin pose. So keep squeezing your arms into the block. Go to dolphin. Maybe you hit your face in the block, then you can make it lay down to the floor like this. And bring your hips up higher and higher. Dolphin pose. And now the hard thing is that you squeeze your blocks and push through your hands and raise yourself up into downward facing dog. It's extremely hard here. You don't have to look like a triangle in your usual down dog. Bring your shoulders up so your neck will be long. And then inhale, raise your left leg up. And exhale, step your left foot forward. High lunge. Whew. Okay. Inhale in high lunge. And exhale, warrior 2. So now you can hold the block on your left hand. It's like doing a tumbling in circles, right? So turn your left hand up and holding the block here. And now we're going to move your shoulder in warrior 2. First, bring your shoulders down, so don't be here. You will only make it more tight on your neck. Bring your shoulders down and then move your arms, starting from big to small. And try to move only your arms, so nothing else. Don't move your whole body. And smaller and smaller. So think of always bringing your shoulders down and then change direction. So starting from big to smaller and smaller. Smaller and smaller. Okay, now let's hold the block tight because you're going to do reverse warrior. Don't drop it, this block is quite heavy. And then inhale warrior 2. Now let's put your block down to the floor in half moon pose. External rotation in your standing leg. Bend your knee slightly and point your knee out and out. Make sure your foot, your toes are pointing right straight to the front of your mat. Once you're done with half moon, turn your hips. Warrior 3. And then the challenge in Warrior 3, see if you can pick the block up and put them between your elbows or between your forearms and bring your arms over your head. Oh, this is hard. And then bend your knees, chair pose, inhale, very weird chair, bring your shoulders down. Okay, and exhale, slowly stand up. Remove the block. Bring your hands behind you. Touch your palms, so you may have to bend your elbows slightly. Pull your shoulders back and pull your hands away from you. So don't make a back bend. Try to keep neutral spine. Think of you keeping your chest here, but you are pulling your arms away from your chest. And you can turn your head gently into a circle. And then change side. Okay, and then slowly release and take a break here. I feel like my arms are swollen up and I'm like a penguin, like this. So you take a long break here. So now that you have known the dolphin pose, we can try the L-shaped forearm stand with the wall. Let's measure yourself like L-shaped handstand. So you put one leg on the wall. So you will be one leg away from the wall. And this will be where you put your forearm, your elbows. This will be where you put your elbows. And turn around. So step back a little bit so that you can put your elbows here on the floor. Nabu. I suggest you use a block again. And put the block behind your elbows so that it will not get into your face. And squeeze your elbows into the blocks. Now let's put your hands on the floor and make sure that all your fingers are on the floor. And then we go to dolphin pose. Keep squeezing your elbows in toward the block, even though if you are not touching the block, it's fine. Bend your knee and touch your heel to your butt and then put your foot on the wall in that line and go into L-shaped forearm stand. You can look behind or look between your hands, so it's your choice. But try to press through into your arms so that your head will not be touching the floor. And get out of this pose. How was it? It feels a bit more than handstand to me, because handstand, the arm in handstand, I'm very used to, because it's in the arm in plank pose and downward facing dog. So we are very used to that arm. And now let's move the block toward your hands. So you hold your hands around the block and make your index finger and your thumb bordering the corner in the blocks. If you feel like that was too much for you, you can move a little bit away from the wall. So you will not be an L shape, but you will be more than an L shape, more than 90 degrees. Press all your hands down to the floor, and now you have to make sure you're hugging your elbows in all the time. Because if you don't pay attention, you will look like this. And that's not a good and then you will be collapsing through your shoulder joints. Okay, so pull your shoulders back, long neck first. Dolphin pose. You don't have to straighten your leg, just bring your hips up high. Bend your other leg this time and put the foot on the wall and the other foot will follow. You can look down through your arms and you can see your toes, or you can look forward and see the blocks. But either way, try to push your arms down to the floor so much that your neck is long and your head will not be touching the floor. One more breath. And then get out of this pose. Whew. That was a lot, right? Lay down to the floor and bring your arms to the side of your body. Try to reach your hands to your feet. Charge pose. Take some long breath in charge pose and allow your shoulders to fall to the side freely. And then slowly sit into a sitting pose and calm down with your breath. So open your eyes and find your way to stand up. Take a small break in Tadasana, the standing pose. So that was the L-shaped forearm stand. It was a little bit similar to L-shaped handstand, and now we're going to try to jump. So kick jumping to these inversions. You know that when we jump, we have to bend your hips, bend your knees, and raise your heels up. So we turn our legs into a kind of spring so that you can jump around. You cannot jump with your legs straight and your knee locked. It will not be shock absorbing, and it will be dangerous for your joints, especially your knee joints and your ankle joints. So when you jump, you really need to turn your legs into a bouncy spring so that you can jump around. All right, remember this. This time let's turn face into the wall. We go through a Vinyasa. Inhale, bring your arms up. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Hands on the floor, bend your knees. Raise your heels up and ready to jump to plank pose. And if possible, bend your elbows too into chaturanga immediately. Inhale, cobra pose or up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Now in down dog, look at your hands. Walk your hands a bit closer to the wall and walk your feet closer toward your hands. Don't touch the wall because you need space for you to jump this time. Walk your feet even closer and start bending your knees and raise your heels up already. Keep your right leg on the floor and your right leg will be the spring here. So you have to keep your right leg bouncy and lift your left leg up straight. Point your left toes to the sky in down dog split. Okay, Now you don't have to look between your hands, but if that makes you feel less scary, you can do so. But you can just look on the floor right below your face here. Now we're going to start jumping. So you can you think of bringing your left leg up to the sky very high. Bend your right knee and hop. And hop for 3 more times. Doesn't matter how high you are or how low you are. Just keep jumping. Maybe next time you can jump higher than last time. And then come back to down dog. Step your feet forward. And then come back to down dog. Stay in down dog for a while. Raise your hips up high. Take some few breaths to neutralize your breath. And then bend both knees. Raise your heels up. We're going to hop forward into forward bend. Be careful, don't hit your head to the wall. Inhale halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. And then stand up as you inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, hands in front of your heart. Stay here for a while and wait for your heartbeat to calm down. So this jumping is very tiring and very fun at the same time. So if you are jumping very low today, you don't have to think about that. You just jump more and more and you will build up the strength and the momentum to go up higher. So now we're going to try with the other leg. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Hands to the floor already. Stay a little bit away from the wall so you don't hit your head into the wall. Bend your knees and raise your heels up, so bouncy, and then jump back into plank, and if possible bend your elbows at the same time in chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Stay in down dog for a while. Start raising your heels up and bending your knees. And then let's walk your hands closer toward the wall and walk your feet a bit closer. So this time your left leg will be the spring. It will be on the floor, raising heels up and bending knees. Your right leg will be the kickstarter, so raise it up straight. It will be very straight here. So let's start bouncing and then jump 5 times. So you really don't have to care if you're jumping high or low. Just feel the bounce and the momentum that make you go up and up for 5 times. Okay, and after 5 times, stay in down dog. Walking your heels on and off the floor. Check in with your hands, make sure that they are still pressing down to the floor, especially in your index finger and your thumbs. And now look at your hands, walk your feet closer, bend your knees, raise your heels. We're going to jump your feet forward into forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Be careful, don't hit your head in the wall. And exhale, forward bend. And stand up slowly. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, take another break in mountain pose. So this is kick jumping to inversion today. So this is kick jumping to inversion, like forearm stand and headstand, like forearm stand and handstand. We will not kick jump to headstand, because when you are standing with your head, if you jump, it's unstable and a lot of weight, like your whole body weight, on your neck joints, and that is not so stable. So if you fall out of headstand when you kick jumping, then it's not good for your neck, and we don't want to have any injury in our neck area, because it's very weak and it's a very important area in our body. Forearm stand and handstand, you are standing on your hands and your forearms. So these parts are less vital than our neck, and also you have been training them a lot through like a plank and downward facing dog and low plank. So they're safe enough to jump. So again, don't ever jump into headstand. Okay, so now we're going to try with the forearm stand, jumping. I'm going to have my favorite pillow here. And I will have a strap, so I recommend that you have now you can have a strap wrapping around your arm. But this one we only use it now as we new to this pose. Because this strap job is to keep your elbows holding closer to each other. But that action we have to learn to do on our own. So if we are dependent on the strap, we cannot learn that how to do that external rotation action. But today we're going to jump, and it may be your first time, so we are going to use it so that you feel a bit more stable. But our goal is to not using the strap, so you have to learn that action on your own, hugging your elbows closer to each other. And then I'm going to use a block between my hands too, and I put the blocks on the floor. So with forearm stand you can be quite close to the wall. Check in with your hands, make sure that they are pressing down to the floor, and your elbows are as wide as your shoulders. From here we are going to dolphin pose. Keep your knees bent and your heels raising off the floor already, so your legs are already in a spring and ready to jump. Bring your hips up higher and walk your feet closer. Now you're going to keep your right leg on the floor and bring your left leg up. So right leg will be the spring and left leg will be the kick starter. So you can kick your left leg up and jump with your right leg. Let's try several times. 5 times. Maybe you can hit into the wall and you can stay there, but if you don't, doesn't matter. Okay, and then go back and take a break in a child's pose. So if you feel like you are very far away from the wall and you cannot kick so high, you know that I have been kicking for more than a year and I hardly reach the wall. So today is just like an introduction for your body in the jumping. Maybe next month you'll already be standing on your forearms. Okay, and then let's try the other side. So hold your hands into the block, fingers pressing down to the floor, forearms parallel to each other and as wide as your shoulders, dolphin pose. Bend your knees, raise your hips up high, and your heels are not on the floor, so your legs are already springs, bouncy spring here. Keep your left leg on the floor and make it bounce while you bring your right leg up, point straight to the sky as high as you can. Your right leg will be your kickstart and jump 5 times. You can look at anything, but don't hit your head on the floor. Try to press through your arms. If you feel like your head is too low, you can look between your hands. And out. So another break in child's pose. So now I'm going to stay in child's pose, but if it's up to you if you want to try more. You can jump each side 5 more times and jump very high, so I think there's only like 0.01% that you fall in this pose. You almost can't. So feel free to do it, and I will be waiting for you in child's pose. If you don't want to do it anymore and you want to be in child's pose, you can lay down with your arms along your body. So I will slowly get out of child's pose. If you have been jumping for more and you need a rest, then you can go to child's pose. I just need more time to get out of inversions because I have quite low blood pressure. So I will take it slow. And then I will open the eyes and sit down to the floor. So now I can move all the blocks away and sit down to the floor. Let's bring your hand onto your head. Let's bring your left hand down to the floor and walk your hand behind you. And use your right hand and hold your head and pull it to the front and to the right side. So your left hand keep going back and back, while your head and when your right hand pulling your head to the right side and forward. And then we change to the other side. So keep your right hand on the floor and bring your right hand behind you. It's running on the floor to the back side of your body. Use your left hand and pull your head forward and to the left side. Keep walking your right hand further and further away. And slowly get out of this pose. So let's lay down to the floor. And bring your arms over your head. Let's use your right hand to hold your left wrist and pull your left arm to the right side. You can bring your whole upper body too, but keep your buttock the same on the floor. So imagine your hips will be sticking down to the floor and don't move, but your upper body will go to the right side in a side bend. And then your legs will walk to the right side too, as far as they can. And then you can put your left leg on the top of your right leg and stay here for a side bend. You can turn your face to the right side too. Feel the gentle stretch on the left side of your body. And make sure you are relaxing on the floor. Feel how your breath is slowing down and your body is cooling down. If you want to go deeper into this side bend, still keep your hips here, but bring your legs and your upper body more to the right side. And then let's slowly come back to the center. Take a small break here before you move on to the left side. So you can use your left hand to hold your right wrist or elbow and pull to the left side. Your torso can go to the left side too, and your face can turn to the left side too. Walk your legs to the left side. Don't flip your hip off the floor. And then put your right leg on top of your left leg. So now you're in a side bend. It's a very gentle side bend. If you feel like you want more, you can always bring your body more and more to the left side. In the last few breaths, go a bit further if you want to. And still relax and observe how your body is cooling down. And then let's go back to the center. Now you can stay in Savasana. Let's bring your shoulders really far away from your ears so that you can keep your neck long on the floor and turn your palms to face up. Move your feet away from your body too and feel how your body is expanding on the floor. Feel how your body is melting down and softening. And going back to a still state after a lot of jumping up and down and being upside down. And your arms was working very much in quite an unusual shape. You can continue laying here in Savasana and relax. But I'm going to get out of this pose. So this was an introduction to forearm stand. And even though you stand in forearm stand today or not, you tried it. So trying it and do it in a very clumsy way is the first step to doing it in a nice and stable way. So now that you are passing the first steps, you are welcome to the next level of forearm stand and any other hard yoga poses. So thank you very much, and I will see you in the next class. Namaste.